Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Chris, the American Mag. Welcome to a new video. Don't forget to smash the like button. As you know, it helps us a lot to keep growing. Let's get to 100 likes and help us out. Of course, if you're new to the show, to the channel, don't forget you can subscribe for free. Hit the red button down below, subscribe, and join this wonderful community. And if you are a regular watcher, you know that you can become a member of the show, participate in monthly raffles, as well as enjoy weekly. Content just for members. Today we had to record the Once Upon a Time podcast talking about Alan Shearer. So don't forget to join that one. I will leave a link in the comment section down below. Now let's get started. We got to talk about the injury crisis. Why are we going through this injury crisis? What are the reasons? And I would like to know your opinion. There's something that this channel is about is you as the fan. You have a say, you have a vote, whatever it is. We will read and I will respond to your comments individually, and I try to respond to as many comments as I can. And I want to know your opinion. What do you think this injury ravaged season is all about? People have been saying this that it's just luck, and that there's nothing new, there's nothing, that it is what it is basically, and it's just bad luck, and we're gonna get over it. And at the end of the day, next season we should be back as usual. Maybe do things like last season, finish in top four. Do you believe that? That's one theory, I guess. I'm not sure that I want to blame this whole thing on just bad luck, and that's the reason as to why things happened this season. I think that us as fans, we got to look past the black and white banter. We got to look past all that and actually sit down and rationalize what we're saying, rationalize what we're doing, what's happened. Actually, look at this in an objective manner. And with all due respect, I believe in luck, but one, two, three, five, eight, 10 injuries worth of luck. But what about the rest? As far as right now, I believe we had 33 injuries all season. And the last one, the very last one that we can see right here in front of our very, very eyes is this one right here. None other than Sven Botman, just going down 9 months. And we did a video obviously talking about that, giving my opinion on that situation. But I'll tell you this, it's certainly it hasn't set in yet that we're going to miss him for 9 months max. It could be six, but at the end of the day, he's done for the season and done for the majority of next season. We won't see Botman in the beginning of next season, ladies and gentlemen. So we need to actually take a serious look at what's happening right now. Now, listen, I've said it before when I did the video just about Botman that we should do a recall, an audit, whatever you want to call it, investigation as to what's happening right now. I will say this: I don't think that the medical team has done an amazing job. Obviously, that's an understatement of the year. I think that we need to look really deep in our medical team, and obviously, I will say, partly is their. So let's take a look at actually this medical team that we're talking about, because essentially they are a big reason. Is if they're having a negligence, multiple ones throughout the season, they usually are going to be the culprit. Now, I'm going to talk about a few things here and there because I'm trying to keep it all objective. It can't just be a one-sided conversation. Surely, the medical staff is a big part of this, and surely they will be held accountable. I believe at the end of the season, the club is going to make an audit and going to make an investigation. So we're going to go down all the way to this is the scouted team. And of course, look at this. Andy Howe is ahead of scouting, which is incredible. But it's another topic for another debate. Medical department right here for Newcastle United. Paul Caterson, the club doctor. He's been appointed since 2009. That's very important right there. Since 2009, he's been the club doctor. Um, do we need to look at that? Do we need? I mean, since 2009, we haven't exactly been lighting it up, and and certainly we've never had an injury crisis like this. But it's something to look at. Do we need to keep the medical stuff from previous years? Some people will say, "Well, what does it matter? It's just a club doctor. If he's a good doctor, it should be good." Well, that's an opinion. My opinion is always need to be looking and updating or investigating whether this doctor is good enough to maintain his job. Marty, since 2016, he's the physiotherapist, one guy that we need to be looking at because physiotherapy, as you know, uh, it's recuperating these players, muscles and bones and all that stuff. Another name, Sean Beach. Somebody from this is Marty from 2016, Beach from 2017. Again, quite a while now, and about 7 years, 8 years back. So we need to look at that. Dave Galley just started in 2002, 61 years of age, and Nathan Ring, also another physio. Aaron Harris, another physio. Johnny King, another physio. Simon Twiddle, sports scientist. John Fitzpatrick, sports scientist. Daniel Hodges, sports scientist, as well as Liam Mason, sports scientist as well. And so, in all these players, Liam came from Blackburn, Daniel Hodges from Bournemouth, and a few from Newcastle. They've been in Newcastle for a while now, and from other clubs as well. Marty came from West Ham back in 16. Beach has been in Newcastle for a very long time, actually, and of course the Paul Caterson, the doctor, been there for a while. So these are the people that we need to be looking at when it comes to the medical part of things. Are they doing their job? We need to look, because obviously something has definitely shifted this season. Now, what is the motive? Because now we have just one season of ravage injuries, just injuries all over the place. Is that because these have been the doctors before, and nothing has happened until this season? So the doctors can say, well, we've never had an issue like this, never. And let's look at another option, and maybe something else that could be happening in the Newcastle world at the moment as to why we're going through this thing. Now, first of all, let's take a look at this, because we're talking about this season, but let's look at just the players that are injured now, the players that are hurt right now at this moment, not the whole season, just now alone. As you see and as you know, Sven Botman right there in front of your very eyes. He is, we already talked about it, ACL, very, very tough injury. We'll go surgery and we'll fix all that, etc. Sandro Tonali, nothing to do with injuries, of course, so he shouldn't even be on this list, but he is, because obviously he's been suspended, so he's absent at the moment. So now we move on. Callum Wilson, chest abdominal injury, essentially the boob part, and it was a tussle, tug of war type of thing in the other box, and of course the defender pulled, and he pulled as well at Callum Wilson, and therefore he's got this injury now. I mean, Joe Linton. Joe Linton was one of the things that have surprised me the most. Um, he's already starting to do rehab, but he's not going to be. He's not going to be. I mean, he could come back at the very end of the season, but what is the point now? Thigh injury. This was a reoccurring injury. He was hurt earlier in the game, and then he was let. He came back onto the pitch, and then he hurt himself. So is that a fault by the medical team? One could say that it is. One could say that it is. Nick Pope, very, very difficult shoulder injury. He's out as well, and as we know, he fell on the shoulder, popped out, and some people say that he's been having these issues, and that this could be something much more worrisome than most people think, because if he's been having these issues with goalkeepers, when they start having these shoulders out of pocket type issues, it never stops. And of course, goalkeepers have to fly, they have to jump, they have to go at it. And if every time they fall, they get their shoulder pops out, then we really have a very, very uh, a strong issue here. Kieran Trippier, calf, shin, heel injury, all of that combined, minor injury, but the scan showed enough to probably keep him out for the next 2 games. We'll see. He should be back at any time, right? Actually, he should be able to be back against West Ham United now that he's been certainly, he's had the quote unquote recovery time. But as we know now, the medical team also has given timelines that haven't been fulfilled yet. So I have never really seen in football that many timelines being not met or broken. Usually these doctors are right. Therefore, another point as to why we need to be looking at the medical team for this situation. Harvey Barnes, a thigh injury. Again, he was already injured at the earlier in the beginning of the season and missed out for a very long time. But he should be back for the game against West Ham this weekend. Is he going to, though? Again, the timelines, we haven't been able to trust this medical team when it comes to the timeline, but we will see what happens here. Tino Livramento, ankle and foot injury. So March 16th, it was a twist of the ankle against Chelsea. They said we knew the day after the game that he wasn't going to make the weekend that we played against Man City. Well, now he should be back for West Ham again. Another possible lineup. We should have a lot of these players back. But as of right now, at the time of this recording, and of course having in consideration that the medical team hasn't been really uh, great when it comes to the timelines and the due dates, we can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because I'm not counting Tonali, 7 players are hurt at the moment. It's not the most in the Premier League right now. I believe when I looked up Liverpool, Luton, they had more players at the time. I believe there were 11 each when I checked, and of course Lockyer for Luton is there as well. That's not really an injury; that's a health condition. But at the end of the day, he will be out. Now, with that taken in consideration, we've talked about the medical team. We've talked about maybe some of these injuries are not due to the medical staff. It's just fortune. Maybe the Pope injuries is a fortune thing. Maybe he wasn't lucky. But now it's time to talk about another reason as to why we're suffering on these injuries. And that reason is simply what you see right here, right now. Um, and I'm gonna elaborate on these nicely and kindly. The least of the concerns is Al Rumayan, the chairman. We just put him there, but essentially we didn't get the full deep squad that we should have gotten this season for what we need. He is the chairman. Obviously, other people make decisions as well, not just him. But as I say, working in corporate America, the head is always liable. He's always at fault, or he's always right. He takes the praises when everybody else below him do well or bad. That's just the way it is. Of course, everybody individually has a fault in this situation, but we're gonna put him out there because I can't put Stavely and everybody else in the same mix. And now, the DOF, Dan Ashworth, maybe didn't prepare this uh, squad to be long enough to suffice the amount of games that we were going to play, the amount of the style of play, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So they are at fault as well for not bringing and not fulfilling the squad. You don't have to have the best players in the world, but at least you got to have a full squad that the manager can use. Now, with that being said, I put Isak right there as you see on the picture. Why? Because some of these players had to take up accountability of what is going on with their own bodies. Isak has become one of those players that's been quote unquote now labeled as soft, as made of glass. That has to do as well with the last reason that I'm going to give out, and also going with the Alvaro Mayan uh, blame, sort of, I guess you can say, which is not really. I'm just mentioning him and the directors on this. I guess more of a blame on the DOF. But Isak, they have to. Callum Wilson, Harvey Barnes right now injured again. I'm not saying that this is their fault per se, but it is their body, and they need to know what they should do with their bodies to stay healthy. I've seen players say, "I'm going to give up meat. I'm going to give up, well, I'm going to give up like steak, red meat, because it's not good for my joints. It's not good for my muscles. It's not good for my bones. So I'm going to take like Cristiano Ronaldo. He is, I mean, he eats so strictly because he wants to maintain his level to be able to be fit to play at the highest level, even though he's playing in Saudi Arabia. Still he wants to stay fit. And if you're the player, if you're a footballer, you have to do what it takes on your own to be able to maintain yourself and not get hurt all the time. Or in other cases, you need to go work out. Lewis Miley, we talk about, he is easily pushed away when he's got the ball in the midfield. He needs to have a level of ruthlessness to be able to command in that midfield. And certainly so, but he also needs to get in the gym as well as Isak. Get in the gym, work out, help yourself be the best player that you can be. Physically, you need to be able to know what you need. If you think, if you're in the box, and I'm not saying that Isak has this issue, but if Isak feels like he's easily being pushed over, he's easily being taken off the ball and tackled, and do all that, then he needs to understand that I need to get stronger. I need to be. I'm a tall guy. I need to build some muscle. I need to eat more protein, whatever it takes to stay fit. With that being said, Isak doesn't have an injury record really outside of um, Newcastle this season. So I'm not necessarily going to use the label yet. Callum Wilson is known for that, for injuries. Okay. And so I'm not going to use that for Isak yet. My last final observation is the style of play that we have. We are a club that we are very much a one-sided, a one type of style club. We only play this high press intensity game. That is great if you score early in the game and you maintain that level of physicality. It's impossible to maintain the intensity in a football match like this. Impossible. Never done. Never are you gonna maintain 100% of intensity the whole game. It will never happen. You will never find me a game where we or any other team that plays like this maintains that level of intensity. And it works out. It worked out for a season, but maybe putting this season on top of that has just put us in a position where our players last season maybe got to the max of that, of that level of intensity and all that, and you add this season on top of triple the amount of games that we played last season. Well, I had the Champions League. Actually, we had the Carabao and the FA Cup still, but you had the Champions League, played in the group of death, PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan. All that is a tremendous amount of stress, and I have to put the manager in his own bracket of blame, I guess you can say, because he doesn't know how to play a different way of football. And to me, if you're going to be an elite manager, you have to be able to change the way you're playing, to make adjustments. You can't play the same way every time. And I'm not saying that he succeeded at that, because some people will say, well, we haven't been playing that. What about Chelsea? What about Arsenal? No, I'm not saying that we were able to do that every game. We intended to do that every game. Hal likes to play like that anywhere, everywhere he goes. He's only a one-way highway. There's his way or the highway, no pun intended. And so he needs to be able to understand that if he's going to be an elite manager, he needs to be able to know how to switch the script, how to flip the script and be able to win in different ways. You have to be you can be true to your identity, but at the end of the day, you still got to be able to make adjustments. And if the medical team are horrible, if the directors are horrible directors and they didn't get you a full squad, if the players don't stay fit on their own, they don't do their own to stay fit, well, you as a manager should try to do everything possible to be able to play with the cards that you're dealt with. And on top of that, you have not used Paul Dummett that you didn't want to sell for 500K in the mid window, in the winter window. You still got Matt Ritchie. And again, those guys are going to probably leave the club, but you don't even play them really. Play Matt Ritchie once, Dummett a couple of times. Kraft was injured, but again, he doesn't really come on much. So you got to take accountability for what it is. But that is what I think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you believe is the reason as to why Newcastle United are being very much taken over injuries. And it doesn't stop, ladies and gentlemen. Every week, somebody gets hurt. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, join the show, become a member, get exclusive content, as well as win prizes every month. You can do that for as low as 0.7975p. So you can do that on the join button down below. Join our Facebook forum. You can join our WhatsApp forum. All the links are in the description. As for right now, don't forget 10 p.m. shows every day talking about Newcastle United live on this channel. 10 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. United States. My name is Chris, the American Mag. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.